Welcome to BitBoy Crypto. This is Around the Blockchain, and today we're talking about Bitcoin. We're talking about the Mutant Ape and the Bored Ape fiasco, and we're talking about Microsoft VR teaming up. That's right, Meta and Microsoft. Should we be scared? Are the robots coming now? We'll find out soon. Today is a great episode. We're going to get right into it. We have Nerd Grl holding it down for all the hexagons and all. You know, she's not a maxi anymore, but don't attack her for it, people. Then on the bottom right, we have Johnny Hopper. He's going to be hopping around from topic to topic. No, I'm kidding. He never rambles. Well, we love Johnny around here. Then on the bottom left, from our writing squad, it is Kellam, and you can catch him at Kelly Kellam. And then on the top left, first time on, it is Vanessa Lopez. You can catch her at web3v_. Today is going to be a good episode, but first, let's look at the crypto markets before we get into these topics, see where things are heading. We do have a little bit of a pump happening right now. Nothing crazy, nothing to get excited over. We do have Bitcoin up about 0.7%. Just a little slight gain there. Nothing too amazing. However, it is a nice little relief after all the falling and all the downward pressure we have seen over the past week. Now, Kelly, I mean, we have a volatile 24 hours coming up. Of course, with the Fed minutes, there's a lot of on-chain data. We're going to get into that as well. But what do you think the Fed minutes and what do you think the statements from government officials are going to do to the Bitcoin price over the next 48, 72?
Well, I'm not so worried about the minutes because that's going to be sort of a nominal impact because we already had the press conference, right? But more specifically, I'm really looking at the CPI numbers coming out tomorrow, the core CPI. I've been talking with a number of different analysts today. One of them being Caleb Frenzen, who's somebody I hold in really high regard in regards to economics, monetary policy, how this relates to traditional finance as well as, or traditional markets as well as crypto. And it's really, I mean, if trading was easy, everybody be a millionaire. Put it that way. There's points and things that can highlight the fact that it's likely inflation went down, and there's other points to highlight it's very unlikely that it went down. And so based on that CPI read tomorrow, if we're coming in at expectation or below, we can expect some sort of positive price action. If it's at all below it on the core or on just the CPI, then we are going to see another leg down. So I'm just sort of watching, being patient, and I have very tight stops on the few trades that I do have open.
Yeah, if you look at those macro charts, it doesn't look all that fantastic. I will agree with you on that one for sure. Now, Nerd Grl, I was looking at some of the data for what it costs to mine Bitcoin at the moment, and it's actually costs a little bit more. We're looking at the freshest data. It is close to Delta. Right now, it costs about $19,300 to mine one Bitcoin. Before, we were down about 19,000 even, so it was a $300 loss to mine Bitcoin. Right now, it's still a $150 loss. These miners that are mining Bitcoin at a loss, what do you think they're more likely to do? Are they going to panic sell and maybe just try to cover, get what energy cost they can out of this? Or do you think they hodl until it goes above that 19,300?
I think there's probably some level of each, right? So like Bitcoin miners have to cover their expenses. They have to cover the cost of their electricity and the goods and services, but they also have to try to profit from it. Otherwise, it's just like a fruitless endeavor. However, at this point, I think a majority of Bitcoin mining is done by really large corporations who have these huge warehouses of miners. And so they're probably less concerned over the day-to-day cost of mining a Bitcoin, and like more inclined to hold. I guess I would say that there's probably a combination of things. It's not like it's, everyone's just mining Bitcoin from their home PC anymore, though.
Yeah, I thought we all listened to Seth, and if he said, mind your biz, hey, he says sell, we're going to sell. Yeah, and that's a good point with the industrial mining. A lot of these, these numbers are taken with like average kilowatt hour. Those entities, they can get access to that cheap electricity or build where it is cheapest. So yeah, that's a good point. They might not have to sell as much as many people would like them to, who want to get that cheap corn. All right, now, Vanessa, what do you think is going to happen over the next couple of weeks? I mean, do you think that this will lead to selling pressure as we go up? Are people going to say, this is a volatile asset, these are volatile times? I'm in profit, albeit slightly here. Are you worried about selling pressure?
I think it's definitely an interesting time. Glassnote reported that miners were selling off slowly in the last few months, and they are seeing an all-time high on hash rate as well. I wonder if a lot of that has to do with the looming energy crisis in the United European nations. We also have Norway was also kind of risking getting rid of the tax incentives that they were getting prior for mining. They set those in 2016, and that's already antiquated at this point, considering where the world is with energy. And recently, actually, Compute North, which is the largest mining BTC site in the US, they actually just filed for bankruptcy. So there's a lot going on with the mining pressure. And I feel like, we're reaching a point where we're probably at a bottom. There's a lot of questions about it. So I don't think it's the best time to sell, but I think there are some people that are kind of scared of the conditions. And, with the CPI numbers coming tomorrow, that's definitely going to be telling to which direction the market goes.
All right. Now, Johnny, they call this a capitulation. Once that cost goes to a certain level, or basically when miners are in the negative, when the miners are in the red, they call it a capitulation event. Our last capitulation event was the June lows of 17.6. I don't know if you recall, no one thought we're going below 20. A very quick flash crash to 17.6. ETH crashed, I want to say around the high 8s, later doubled. Bitcoin later saw close to a 50% pump. Are you feeling similar vibes here? Is this capitulation event, could it be a precursor to another short relief rally like it was in June?
If the miners sell, I'm selling everything. Taking everything for a loss. That's how we, lose money here.
How much for the white paper behind you?
Dude, that thing actually took it was like $150 to get free.
Oh man, all I had was tree fitty.
Upset about that. But no, I don't think that we're going lower. I'm with Vanessa. I think that the bottom is kind of already hit, and there is why sell now, because we have so much upside. And as Buddha says, the only way out is through. So even if we do have a massive event, I would strongly suggest most people, if they've hung on this long, they should just continue to hold on and dollar cost average into lower stuff, because right now under 20,000 people would have sold their kid to buy Bitcoin, earlier, a couple years ago. Gosh, it seems like it's been so long to have Bitcoin this cheap. So, and with the CPI numbers coming out saying it's going to be up a little bit, if it's not up, that is going to be incredibly good news. And personally, you've all heard me that I think that we've already hit a bottom here. So no, DZ, to be concise and not take up any more time, I don't think it's going lower. I don't think this is a capitulation event. I think that we're staying stagnant. This is just an accumulation period.
Accumulation period. I know it is for me. And hit that like button if you do like accumulating crypto during the bear market, because that's when opportunities will arise, and that's where you can make that generational wealth. All right, let's talk about Bored Ape. First, I do want to lead with the ApeCoin, because this chart tells a lot of the story here. This is the 7-day chart, and you can see it, just kind of just moving along, has a nice little support, a little bit above the $5. Then, again, this is all speculation, folks. Don't come at me with the pitchforks here. It seems like it's possible that the news broke. The only reason I'm saying that is because it just crashed through that strong resistance, had a quick rally, and then just boom. And then this is where the news broke. You can see it right there. A nice little crash to the downside. What is the news we're talking about? There's rumors that there's an SEC investigation into Yuga Labs. A lot of this centering around the ApeCoin specifically. Not so much the mutant apes, not so much the bored apes, certainly not the little kennels. They're just little dogs. What did they do? They didn't do anything wrong. Now, volume did surge. I see a lot of people asking about the volume. I just want to share this. 18K of ETH volume was traded without royalties. I'm sorry, no, this is a wrong one here. If I could scroll, there we go. Scrolling up, you know what? I like too many tweets. I'll find it in a second. But essentially,
sweet JPEG junkies.
Yeah, I like the JPEG junkies, BJ. I won't apologize for that. Here, no, I'll find it while I'm talking here. But Yuga, they have an OpenSea. They have wrapped ETH offers, and a wrapped ETH offer is just, you'll see a lot of those just kind of float around. There's always going to be some good wrapped ETH offers. However, when things happen of this nature, a lot of people will panic accept the wrapped ETH offers, and I think that something similar happened with this case. All right, NFT Statistics is the account. A lot of great content comes from this account, and I wanted to share. They do show where you can see the Magic Eden market share, a bunch of other things, but essentially, wrapped ETH offers spiked, wrapped ETH offers surge. So the volume you see isn't so many fresh buyers coming in scooping up cheap. It's just wrapped ETH offers that were just kind of sitting there. Once the news broke, people panic accepted. I'm sure a lot of people also removed those wrapped ETH offers. But back to the SEC investigation. Now, Kelly, it does seem like this has more to do with ApeCoin rather than the NFTs themselves. How do you think this affects people's opinion of the coin? Is this a Terra Luna? Is this an XRP? Is this going to emerge stronger? What do you think the people are thinking?
Well, one of the things that I keep having to wrap my mind around, because as you know, I'm also basically taking the helm on rebuilding and expanding BitLab Academy. And the reason I bring that up with this is that one of the things we have to remember is the bubble all of us live in within crypto, and understanding, what level of understanding we have of it. So when I'm trying to get somebody to understand chart patterns and candle patterns, like sometimes people look at a chart, they don't even know what a candle is. Now, relating this to this story with the Mutant, with Apes, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and this spike in basically selling from FUD. I mean, this all ties back to, I forget, somebody on our channel said it earlier regarding Gary Gensler is just throwing things at the wall, trying to basically get anybody he can, persecuted on these things that they haven't had any sort of clear direction on. It's really, I mean, it's bananas. Forgive the pun, if you ask me. But it's just, I just think it's kind of like when you see the breakdown on a chart when you're breaking past support, and people just start panic selling, and then you immediately see that giant green wick just bought up and it slingshots back up to the top. I think if you buy into an asset and you believe in it, you need to hold it through FUD. If there's true fundamental changes, that's when you consider starting to sell.
Yeah, there's a lot of projects I don't look at the floor price or the price of at all. This is the chart that I was just kind of, jabbering on about. Not hard to tell when the SEC announcement came out. Wrapped ETH volumes now more than 50% of OpenSea volume. You can see the SE news breaking, and then just wrapped ETH volume just skyrocketing there. Don't think I've ever seen 14 wrapped ETH bids accepted in 3 hours. So clearly, people were making moves. People were panic dumping their assets there. Now, Nerd Grl, now the SEC is looking at Yuga. A lot of people are assuming it's because of ApeCoin. Should these NFT projects with coins be worried?
Yeah, so I think that a lot of people are kind of missing. They're saying that they think that that SEC is looking at Yuga because of ApeCoin, and maybe that's the case. But I would say the bigger issue, and like I don't like three-letter agencies, I don't like regulations, I'm not advocating for them, but if I were looking at it from their perspective, the bigger issue would be the sale of land in the other metaverse. So that's where I would say I kind of dug into this. I got real nerdy with this, and found
it's in the name.
Yeah, right. So I found a securities lawyer who did a detailed thread about this back in May, saying, hey, the land sales from the other side metaverse, or the other metaverse, whatever it's called, are definitely a security, and then broke down exactly why. The account is Cryptones. So I want to give credit to the person who brought it to the attention. But so the Howey test, which we're all familiar with, right, is actually based on the sale of land to build an orange grove. So the company, the Howey company, sold land, but then the land sellers left the land in the control of the Howey company. So that means that they actually didn't expect to sell the land themselves. They expected the Howey company to do all of the work and therefore become a profitable business. And that's why the SEC ultimately ruled that even though it was a land sale, those weren't really investments in property, they were investments in the Howey company. So looking at this from a perspective of a land sale and the 4 points of the Howey test, which are there's an investment of money an investment contract exists when there's an investment of money in a common enterprise with a reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from the efforts of others. So was there an expectation, or was there an investment of money? yes, over what, $300 million was collected, 300 million, something like that. Yes. Was there a common enterprise? Yes. 55,000 plots of land were sold. Do they have an expectation of profit, or do the people who bought the land have an expectation of profit? I would say that this is where, if I were Bake's team, like this is like their chance of getting out of this, right, would be like how well this was marketed, or what the official language behind their marketing here was. Because if they weren't telling people that they should buy these lands to sell them later for a profit, but rather buy these lands so that they could build in the other metaverse, then there's a big difference there. But like, I think that if this goes to court, that would be the point where the SEC, like where the primary contention stands. And then the fourth condition is their expectation of profit from the work of others. Yeah, this metaverse isn't even built yet. So of course they have to rely on Yuga Labs to build this metaverse.
Yeah, those are actually very good parallels there. Of the virtual real estate is the other deeds and the other side metaverse with this Orange Grove with the Howey test that we are all familiar with. That you know, that good old 90-year-old antiquated law that so much of all of our net worth is tied into. Gotta love it. You gotta love our country. But really good breakdown there, Nerd Grl. Appreciate that. Now, Vanessa, that was actually really good. I'm going to have to think about it, because I'm going to share my thoughts on the ApeCoin, but that's a really good comparison, saying it could be lands there. I like that. Now, do you think we have all these wrapped ETH offers? I want to share this one more time. You know, boom, 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 people accepting. The people with the wrapped ETH offers, I think it's fair to say that they weren't aware of the news and have yet to revoke their offer. Otherwise, these sales probably wouldn't have gone through. So I want to ask you, Vanessa, when the dust settles, who is going to be the winner? Was it going to be the person who accepted the wrapped ETH offer, or is it going to be the person who basically sold it there? I mean, bought it.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say kudos to Nerd Grl, because that deep dive, I don't even think the SEC has gone that far into.
No, she knows more than Gary. She knows more than Gary.
Yeah,
we know that.
I think she just gave the cause, but that's okay. I do think that when the dust settles, the winner. I mean, I just went on like NFT Twitter, and there's actually quite a few mutant apes that are buying out the floor, so they're not worried. You know, that community is very strong, as we've seen. I can't help but notice that the SEC continues to go after, you know, noteworthy brands, if you will. You know, with XRP being 2 years ago, that's really what put a pause on XRP taking off. Now, all of a sudden, it was Kim Kardashian. Now they want to go for Bored Apes. So it kind of just seems like they're going after, you know, brands that have made headlines that are affiliated with crypto in some way, some attempt to stop the masses, because they've already realized that this is bigger than what they are understanding of, and they can't stop it. So it's just kind of a way, I feel like, that they're trying to kind of slow down the mass adoption, and they're doing that by targeting the names. All
right, can't stop, won't stop. I like that. All right, now Johnny, I'm gonna give you. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to follow up on just briefly. I shared it on my Twitter, but it was Jon Stewart had an actual conversation with Gary Gensler that was shared a Zoom call. And that specific thing was just like Vanessa just stated, was Jon Stewart called him out specifically. He's like, why are you going after people like Kim Kardashian, or the, you know, for instance,
Floyd Mayweather is another example.
Floyd,
yeah. Kim Kardashian
doing these things. They don't have massive bank size, you know, legal teams behind them. They're just trying, you know, to close the cases as quick as they can. And the SEC is just trying to get these wins. They're imposing rules and regulations on crypto, kind of like trying to persecute somebody that's storing their car, not like how a horse is stored. It's like these are two different things, two different technologies. I just wanted to share that.
No,
they're making them up as they go too.
Yeah, they're pulling it out of who knows where. All right, now Johnny, I kind of want to get your just open-ended thoughts on the SEC overall. You know, we brought up Kim K. We bringing up the other deeds here. Floyd Mayweather is another example. XRP, of course, the Ripple case is the big elephant in the room when we talk about SEC and crypto. How do you think this is going to shake out? Is the SEC going to bully their way into being crypto's enforcer, or will the CFTC and, you know, the people, in my opinion, trying to fight the good fight, are the right actors going to end up winning in the long run?
Well, no, truthfully, okay, that's a double-edged sword, because the SEC is what's kind of helped our economy grow as a whole, whether it's derivatives or lending out any sort of money. It's incredibly important how our financial system is here. And crypto is the other aspect of that that's trying to take little pieces of it but make it differently. That's what DeFi is it's supposed to be like a government entity that everyone has a vote to. And I think the SEC did a good thing for Mayweather and Kim Kardashian because those coins had no fundamental reason whatsoever. They were just a massive pump and dump, but the SEC going after things like the Bored Ape Yacht Club that has a fundamental value with NFTs, and same thing with XRP. Like, this coin is potentially going to be the coin for fast transactions across the world, kind of taking over Swift. I don't agree with the SEC on those aspects. And whenever you get a letter in the mail about the SEC, you're scared. It's like the IRS. You're thinking like, oh, I'm getting sued, and for how much? I will say that I believe that this is all just propaganda. There is regulation coming, and they're trying to have the biggest heavy hitters that they can hit so that it's a big PR to where you can see, hey, look, crypto is this, blah, blah, blah. Because you could honestly argue that most cryptocurrencies out there could be named as securities, right? They're just not underneath the umbrella of the SEC because of the government regulations. Therefore, they can't really go after them. So they're trying to take power back. It's all about controlling a narrative in my mind. And, this is a beautiful time to get into crypto because once regulation hits, we're not going to see as big of gains as we used to see. Like, yeah, okay, that again, DZ, double-edged sword on what I just said there too, because when we have a regulation when it comes to crypto, you're going to have trillions of dollars enter the market, and therefore you're going to have, the gains that we want to have, but we're not going to be seeing none of these guys becoming billionaires off of these coins that were invented a few years ago. It's
you're making perfect sense. If it's going to live in basements and Silk Road is, as mainstream as it gets, we would never have a $10 trillion market cap. To get to a $10 trillion market cap, yeah, we will need SEC, CFTC. No, I agree with all those points. All right, let's move on. Talk a little Microsoft VR, of course. Hold on one second. I don't know why I did that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, they are teaming up. Yeah, we're talking about Bill Gates, prodigal son here, Microsoft, and Mark Zuckerberg. Seen here, remembering who passed over him on dodgeball in 5th grade. Oh, he's going to remember. He's going to find your Facebook profile. But they announced they are partnering to bring Microsoft's suite of products to the Oculus ecosystem. That's right. We're talking Microsoft Word. We're talking Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint. You could do PowerPoint presentations with your VR. You're in your little cubicle, quote unquote. You're just sitting on your couch without any pants on, but all of a sudden you're in a work meeting and maybe, you're looking at the business partner's PowerPoint just, popping up on your screen. So they want to at least initialize some sort of office-like environment with the VR. It's not just entertainment. It's not just games, not just, VR watching YouTube. It looks like they actually want to maybe create some sort of Web3 workspace would be probably the best way to put it there. Now, Kelly, a lot of basically every college will teach you about Microsoft Office. You can go anywhere. You go to the worst community college, you can learn about Microsoft Excel. What schools are going to be offering VR as part of that standardized testing or, curriculum? Do you think that Harvard or, Joe Schmo school down the road, is anybody going to be giving VR headsets to students and saying, this is the future, we need to learn how to operate this?
I mean, absolutely, I do think so, but I think we're still, I do still think we're quite a ways away from that being the norm. I mean, if you think about it, in my bubble, it seems like Apple is the only computer because I've been in mostly the arts sort of industry amongst artists and designers and all these, and everybody that I know has a Mac, and it's baffling to me to look at the stock price of Microsoft. But then you remember, one of the best business decisions and basically positioning Microsoft ever did was getting their software license across the globe for basically nearly every major institution in the world for business uses Microsoft products. And so I think that's part of more of where this angle is with the VR. Do I think we're going to have stuff that's going to be like PowerPoints and digital remote business conferences and stuff? Absolutely, I do think we're going to have that. it's going to develop into that. But I don't think the technology is anywhere near that ready yet. And not only does it need to become ready, we need to become normalized to using it before this is something you can throw on, a 68-year-old manager and a 75-year-old, legacy person in a company. This is something that it's going to take years for this to happen. I think they're just a little early on it, but you can't fault somebody for taking a shot too early. It just means that they need to be patient. The world needs to catch up.
No, that's a good point. I'm picturing Tim, our CFO, all of a sudden having to slap on an Oculus for a meeting. It is kind of funny just imagining, like more of a senior executive.
And Kelly, what's
having
wrong
to do
with
that.
But would you really want to throw on a VR to get more involved in your Microsoft Word document?
No, I hate Excel. You know what though? I went to school for accounting. I share that fact. It would be kind of cooler to do Excel in a VR. Like if I'm scanning rows that way, sure.
You bring up a good point. You bring up a good point. This is one of the things. It's metaverse also, but even blockchain in general, VR, all these technologies are so new. We haven't even gotten near catching up with the technology that was developed in the 90s, let alone where we're at now with metaverse, blockchain, crypto. So it's going to take a while for us to catch up to even foresee what's possible to do with these new technologies.
Yeah, you bring up the 90s, the movie Lawnmower Man. I believe it came out around 93. Yeah, I don't even feel like we're that far yet. So shout out to Lawnmower Man. It's a terrible movie. Don't watch it. All right, now, Nerd Grl, we're talking about mainstream adoption. I want to, you always have some good takes. I want to know, if you could only choose one, a binary answer here, what is going to be that Trojan horse that leads to mass adoption? Is it work or is it entertainment?
Oh, definitely entertainment. I mean, who wants to put more into work than they have to, right? I mean, I guess.
Well, if you go around my office, not many. I'm kidding. Yeah. We love our employees here. We love all Hit Network employees. Except for
those of us who love what we do may spend more time and money doing it, but then you could argue it's an entertainment cost. No, I absolutely think that, gaming is a huge part of adoption. Like we just saw NFTs, right? Where did people put their money? Well, DeFi and NFTs, but what got all of the mainstream attention? The NFTs. So I think that it's beyond question that entertainment is where the adoption comes from. And I also think it's the prospect of Microsoft partnering with Metaverse/Facebook is horrifying, but.
All right. Well, I'm glad you brought up that partnership. Vanessa, there's a little funny tidbit I saw when I was researching this story. It looks like Microsoft actually lost employees to Meta. I'm trying to find the exact number, but it was over 100 people. So we had a little bit of a brain drain here. I mean, I don't know if they wanted to go work at the more exciting place. Do you think this collaboration is part of, one of the reasons is, hey, we're losing our employees because people want to work in VR? Is there a possibility that this is just a move to say, hey, the young engineers coming in, they want to do something exciting. Let's, maybe cater towards them?
I mean, honestly, I think it's a match made in heaven, and that's that I'm not a Mark Zuckerberg fan. I think that it's actually pretty telling in the direction that Meta wants to go and how Microsoft can kind of integrate themselves into a Web3, workforce. Because if you think about it, when Facebook changed their name to Meta, there was still Decentraland, there was Sandbox, CryptoVoxel was still around, and it wasn't really clear as to what direction they were going to go in because they weren't really talking about gaming or entertainment. So now, you bring in Microsoft, and it's pretty, it's evident that they want to take this into a more workforce, mirror the office environment space. And then you take into account that Facebook has their marketplace. I think that that's going to be easy for them to integrate some sort of tokenization and maybe, sell, whether that be uniform or office material or whatever the case may be for their metaverse in order to stack that up. So I love the picture. I don't know if you're showing it yet, but yes.
Oh, yeah. This is just what a VR avatar might look like. So you're working in your office and you need to ask somebody to your left, hey, did you get that Slack message? You turn, that's what you'll see. That's what you see. We kid, we love the Zuck here. All right, Johnny, now, do you think Microsoft is choosing Meta because they don't want to work with some of these other companies? Apple has a little bit of a VR division. Of course, Tesla, has a lot of VR capabilities that they're working on. Who knows what product that will roll out with? Maybe it'll be the robots. Who knows? They're not choosing Google. They're not choosing Apple. I mean, do you think, I don't want to say a beef is here, but do you think this is maybe more of a teaming up against an Apple or a Google here?
Well, truthfully, Bill Gates, love him or hate him, he's an incredibly smart individual. Like, he saved Apple from near bankruptcy and lend him like $150 when Steve Jobs was still the CEO. You know, so competition breeds innovation. And I think he's positioned himself with Mark Zuckerberg and Meta because this is actually really scary. If you remember, this is the dude that has been for ID 2020 and massive centralization. I mean, like, we want to talk about Facebook censoring content and people, especially during elections. This is dangerous for all of us when it comes to the new world that is going to be VR, whether it's augmented reality to begin with or whatever. Facebook has changed their name to literally say Meta. It's a matter of time before we use this technology on a daily occurrence. Like, look at our cell phones. We get anxiety and stress if we leave that sucker at home. You know, imagine if you go to work and you have the little headset on. Like, truthfully, but to answer your question, I do believe that he is positioning himself to be a front runner in the leading software war that is going on with Meta, because it's no longer going to be just hardware because of cloud computing.
Yeah, seeing here, he's mad that he lost his AirPod. All right, well, that is all we have time for, and it looks like Nerd Grl won it. You know, it was that awesome. It was like a scholarly presentation on the Bored Ape project there. So, Nerd Grl, feel free, take us away. You won. Leave us with some parting thoughts, please.
Cool. Yeah. So I made up a limerick, or I think it's not a limerick, but okay. Some people who wear crowns expect to be called your majesty. I wear a crown to remind you of your sovereignty, because that's what crypto is all about. Do your own research, be responsible for your own money. And a big thanks to DZ and the BitSquad for creating this platform where people with various opinions have the opportunity to share what they're thinking.
Someone put that on an Ethereum or Bitcoin blog or a Hex blog. All right, that's all we got time for. Till next time, BitSquad. DZ out.